It's so interesting to me because my top episode right now on this podcast is me talking about AI overviews. And so I will tell you, all of us PPC experts are getting together and talking about this nonstop. And, it really is a question of what happens when Google's AI starts answering your customers' questions and then ads aren't showing up where they used to be, or when we have the opportunity to put ads in that AI overview. I think these are the conversations that we're asking as experts. And the reason I'm breaking down this conversation that's happening right now among us as PPCers as to where these ads are going to even live when it comes to being inside those AI overviews is because no one has actually seen them in the wild yet. And so I'm not going to do a full recap of my PPC chat just because I want to be able to ultimately have an episode right now about the AI overviews. And it needs to be more of me thinking out loud about what's coming and essentially why it matters for small businesses. I think as a small business, you don't get exposed to the deep thought leadership that we do as experts because, frankly, I don't want to offend a small business. Most small businesses cannot access agencies that deliver the type of thought leadership that comes from people like me unless they do book that one-on-one coaching. And so this is what I want to do a lot on my channel is expose you to these high-level conversations that we're having at top paid search agencies and among, the expert conversations that are closed door, right? So I'm going to expose you as a small business owner to that because it does matter. So first of all, where do we have these chats as PPC experts? Well, I personally like to participate in PPC chat. It's a weekly conversation. It used to take place on Twitter out in the open for advertisers like me to talk about what's new and weird in the world of paid search. We now have that in our own private Slack channel because a lot of us left X. And this week when we were talking, that discussion was where are ads going to be and what happens when they aren't in the new AI overviews. And I'm really talking about in, not the top and the side, which I talked about in one of my previous episodes. It was a lot more scripted. And again, none of us experts have actually seen these real searches yet, these ads in real searches yet. So we have never seen them in the wild. So we keep talking about them, but no one's ever seen them. And so a lot of the key questions that I have, and I have a lot of them, is if someone, right, a user is currently like working in Gemini, right, they're typing or ChatGPT or Microsoft's tool, how are these going to work, right? So like I'm trying to imagine a user thinking like, what is the best couch for a small apartment with a dog? And they're getting really, really like super detailed with the AI. They're talking about the dimensions of their couch. They're maybe even asking AI for pictures. This is really a person that is buying soon, but they're trying to use AI in that creative way to come up with the perfect couch before they go out and shop. So let's hypothetically say that Google says, yes, ads are going to show up there. It's really going to put that ad in a one-to-one match. It's super, super hyper personalized commercial intent. But whenever you have something that is that one-on-one, it's going to be extremely, extremely expensive for Google, right? To like use all that server time and for the advertiser. So the conversion rate, it's going to need to be sky high to make that ad spot worth it. Again, for both Google and for the advertiser. So then that begs the question that I keep asking and other experts are saying is maybe Google is just going to have AI ads as just display ads. So what if AI overviews, they're not even search ads, they're not even one-to-one. Maybe it's just visual placements, again, a lot like display ads that show while people read through AI summaries about something loosely related. I think for us as advertisers, that changes the intent level completely, not as transactional. It's just browsing. But again, that user is very, very, very intent where they're browsing. So I'm thinking about this more of like a Facebook or I guess a display ad. But then I look at the fact that running an auction is expensive for Google. And so it only makes sense if there's a lot of inventory and enough searches and volume through AI to justify that, and that the advertisers, right, are getting those clicks and that traffic and ultimately that conversion. So I don't know. My speculation is that these AI answers have the kind of traffic that supports a full-blown ecosystem, but nobody really, really knows yet. And I think that that's the real thing. So why does it matter to you, right, as a small business if you run ads? And I think what it is that all of these changes could shift where your ads appear and how often. And so AI overviews, they might replace or even bury some of the traditional text ads in some searches. I think that's another thing to think about. So if, for example, Google really leans in to these AI overviews and there's less inventory for traditional searches, then how is that going to work? Because that would make all of traditional search more expensive. And then if, again, they put these AI overviews, I think early adopters may have an edge. I mean, it's usually like that within Google. These early adopters are going to have an edge when AI surfaces these new ad formats. Not only because it's new, but they're going to be able to gather the data quickly. They're going to have that intent within their ads accounts. So I feel like for small businesses, even if it feels really far away and it's not something that you're doing, that you're thinking of, that you even have the budget for, I think staying aware of this topic means you're not going to be caught off guard when performance suddenly changes in your account. And so if you've ever wondered, like, why does my impressions dip overnight? Or why are ads getting more expensive? I think it's these kinds of shifts that are exactly the reason. Google keeps reinventing where ads live, and it's your job if you're advertising and buying in Google to keep up on this. So my gut feeling says that Google is still figuring out how to make these profitable without breaking user trust. I think they need advertisers bought in, but they also need the user, meaning the searchers, to believe that the AI is objective. As a strategist and a paid search expert, I think it's one of those transitions where paying attention early gives you the competitive advantage, which is why I am paying attention on behalf of the clients that I consult to and the clients that I coach. I think it's like being ready for performance max before everyone else. A lot of us got to try it in beta. I think that is really important. I was one of those that was an early adopter and did see success. That led me to being able to be a leader in it when I was working on the agency side. So we don't know exactly how AI overviews is going to impact ads yet. Fully transparent about that, but we do know that this change is coming. Google has announced it. They've leaned into it. So if you're a small business owner, you're running your own Google ads, definitely stick around to this channel because I will keep translating these industry shifts so that you know what's coming before it hits your account. Drop a comment if you've ever seen an AI ad overview in the wild. I'd love to hear about it. I mean, that would be amazing if one of my listeners had seen something like this in the wild. But reach out to me. I am on LinkedIn. If you Google my name, I am all over the internet with content. I'd love to hear from you and to find out what your thoughts are on the topic.